but I certainly love rollerblading.
This is Rollerblading.
What up, Ricardo?
Hello YouTube, my name is Ricardo Lino and I'm a wheel addict. This video might be a little bit controversial. As most of you know, inline skating, rollerblading, whatever you call it, blading, was super trendy in the 90s. There was a time that basically, I would say every 5 in 10 kids would have a pair of inline skates, rollerblades, blades, whatever you call it. But something happened. And what was it? Well, the truth is, no one really knows what happened and no one really knows why this sport somehow came down. And that's what we're going to talk today. Obviously, what we're going to talk today, it has to do with opinions, and people have different opinions about different things. And this is one of those. In my opinion, somehow, this wheel shoes thing is lacking identity. And everyone called them different names, but in the end, no one really knows what we do. I'm gonna try to explain what's going through my head. About 2 months ago, I made an interview with the rollerblade marketing manager. His name is Tom Heiser, and in that interview, my first question was, what should we call to what we do? This was Tom Heiser's answer. First question, I need to make you this question before you even present yourself.
Okay.
Can I call it rollerblading or inline skating? What should I call it?
As the marketing manager for Rollerblade, I would prefer you call it inline skating.
See? So Tom Heiser, as the marketing manager for Rollerblade, said what we do is inline skating. Then I started looking around and I see all the other brands like Roches. Roches have been Roches inline skates since I know about Roches, since the 90s, right? Siba is a brand, from what I know, they started in the 2000s, but Siba has always called their skates Siba inline skates. Powerslide inline skates. Basically what I'm trying to say here is most of the brands call what we do inline skating. So basically they do inline skates for inline skaters. So they call us inline skaters. Also, calling the same name, what was the biggest event ever for this sport in the 90s, mid-90s?
Arlo Eisenberg is the champion on the street.
I have to admit, winning's kind of sweet. It feels good.
The X Games, right? X Games was the biggest event ever for these wheel shoes, wheel boots. I'm not calling it a name yet, but they did, and they did call it aggressive inline or downhill inline skating and aggressive inline skating. Basically, the X Games used to call it inline skating. Then the first magazine, or the biggest magazine that we ever had in this sport too, was Daily Bread, and Daily Bread used to be aggressive inline skating magazine, so it was Daily Bread aggressive inline magazine. Same with other publications back then, the ones that were successful like Box Magazine or Inline Magazine. They all used to call what we do inline skating. Until here, everything is okay. So from what I'm saying now, we're all inline skaters. That's basic. But since the beginning, because the first brand was Rollerblade, there were always people calling us,
But I certainly love rollerblading.
rollerbladers, and it was all good. Until here, it was all good. Every time there was an event or there was a magazine or there was something, we used to be inline skaters. The problem starts when we start getting lost in the name that we call to what we do. We already use an object, which is a skate, that can be translated to all these different languages. In Portuguese would be patin, in Spanish would be patine, in Polish would be rolki, in German would be rollschuh. I don't know, but I do know that every single language has a different name for the skate. Just like everything else, there's one language which is almost universal, and that's English. But we're losing the power of what we do when we have, like, some people call it blades, some other people call it rollerblades, other people call it inline skates. In the end, what do we do? Do we have inline skates, blades, rollerblades? What is it? For a lot of people, it's not a problem, of course, but if we want to see this sport grow, we need to think like someone who is trying to get into it. Most of the people say that they want to see more kids doing what we do. They want to see more kids skating. But kids usually want to do what's popular, and we're losing popularity here. So if you Google inline skating, you'll find something this big. And then if you Google rollerblading, you'll find something this big. And then if you Google blading, you'll find something this big. If we put all these pieces together, we'll find something this big. And that's what we want. So by all calling what we do the same name, we're giving more power to the sport. I'm not saying this is the reason why skating went down, but I'm pretty sure in an era that the internet is so important and Google is so important, everyone just Google everything, we're losing power right here by calling different names. I'm gonna give you another example. Now, these are the barriers that usually we need to go through as everything else in life. Some barriers are obviously bigger than others. Okay, we got two barriers here. One could be the media, the other one could be other sport that doesn't want us to succeed. This, blading. Inline skating. This is rollerblading. Can rollerblading go through the barriers by itself, just rollerblading? Oops, it didn't even go through the first one. Can inline skating go through the barriers by itself? Oops, not really. Can blading go through the barriers by itself? Ah, you went through media, but blading still stayed here. But now, check this. If blading joins rollerblading and joins inline skating, we got something stronger. So let's see if we can go through the barriers now. Oops, missed it. Yeah, missed it. Again. It seems like if we're all together, we're stronger. It might seem like what I did here was stupid, but it's a visual example of what's really happening. We have all these different names that we call to what we do, but in the end, we're just losing power. Now, let's talk about reality. The reality is, we have brands call it inline skating. Then we have some shops that call it inline skating, some other that call it rollerblading, some others that call it blading. I don't know. Right here, we start spreading. And then most of the pro skaters call it blading, some other call it rollerblading, some other call it inline skating. And then we're spreading even more. And then we have all the kids, all the followers, all the people that practice what we do, calling it whatever they see the other ones calling. So in the end, there's all these different names that people are calling to what we do. Like I just showed you, we can be a lot stronger if we all do the same. It's a really, really simple concept. It's a really, really simple thing, especially in 2017, where Google is so important. I'm not gonna tell you what's the right name to call to what we do to these shoe with wheels, but I'm gonna leave a question right here, and that is, what should we call to what we do? What do you call to what we do?
All right. What up, Ricardo? Inline skating, rollerblading, and why? All right. I personally prefer inline skating. I do inline, and I think it's a more universal way of saying it, and it grabs inline skating if you aggressive inline, or if you are hockey, or if you do speed, or anything else. But at least in Puerto Rico, it all started with the Rollerblade brand. So I used to call that we rollerblade. Um, so rollerblading was how I called it because of the brand, I guess. But at least in my case, I do inline skating, and whether it's aggressive or speed skating, but I prefer inline skating. I think it's a more universal, and it's more well-rounded. So that's my opinion. That's at least that's a personal way of expressing what I do. It's aggressive inline skating. So that's what's up. Yeah, I hope you guys doing good. Much love. Abdiel Kolberg. Bye bye.
Well, so many fucking names to our fucking sport, right? Well, to me, one word is enough. The word is inline. Inline is enough because if I put myself in a position of an outsider, I don't need to get specific information about what we do. I don't need to know if you're a mushroom blader or if he's a fucking freestyle roller or whatever. So if you use inline skates, we practice inline. I think that's simple. And I am glad for your questions, and I hope to help solving this identity problem that inline has got. See you soon, buddy. Cheers. Thank you. One love. Obrigado.
Hola YouTube, my name is Ivo Vechter, and Ricardo Lino asked me what people call my sport in the Netherlands. So out here we have a term called skileren, which was a model from ice skating manufacturer Zandstra in the 80s, and it was picked up by the speed skaters at first, and then after that it became the public name for inline skating. Some older people call it rolschaatsen, meaning roller skating, and there are actually also a lot of people calling it just inline skating or inlinen in short, which I hate. For me, the question about how we should call the sport is more important. And it's a hard question because there are so many names and everybody calls it different. But if you zoom out a bit and look at it from a bigger perspective, then it becomes pretty obvious that it's called inline skating because there's like 3 types of skating. One is ice skating, the other is quad skating, and the other is inline skating. And these are the terms. There's no doubt about it. It would be just really weird to call it anything else if you put it next to the quad skating and ice skating sports. Because everybody's calling it skating. Like, you have so many different types of people, and you have like ice skating, people that do figure ice skating, speed ice skating, hockey ice skating. They're all calling it skating, and they're all skaters. They have skates on their feet. Then you have the quad skaters. They're all calling it skating. You have derby and speed quad skaters. They're calling it skating. And just because like inline skaters are going to the skate parks as well, and then you have like skateboarders there, which are oddly enough also calling it skating for themselves. We thought like, hey, we need to differentiate ourselves from skateboarders, and like we're gonna stick to like rolling or rollerblading or blading or one of those terms, which makes no sense if you just compare it to the other skating sports. It's obvious that it's skating, and it's the inline variant of the skating types. And just remember that skateboarding is called skating because of us. It's like, without roller skating, skateboard wouldn't exist. So like, it's just super weird if a skateboarder would call his sport skating and we wouldn't, because like what we're doing is actually skating. So yeah, let's all just stick with the correct terms. That's super important for us right now. And so if you're just like doing anything on inline skates, call it inline skating. And if you want to be more specific, it's like either speed inline skating or speed skating in short, or aggressive inline skating or aggressive skating in short. And we really have to stick to the same names to grow the sport. So that's it. These are my thoughts. Ciao.
So, which one is better, the rollerblading or inline skating? In my opinion, inline skating is much better term because it has more history to it. If you look at the term itself, well, basically, before the inline skating there was a roller skating, and it was already called roller skating with the skating bit in it. And basically people were racing and jumping on roller skates. Also, both sports are like the roller skating and inline skating, are like summer versions of ice skating, which also have ice skating bit in it. In my opinion, the inline skating covers much more of what we are doing on skates. If you look at it, for example, free skating also contains the skating bit. Inline downhill contains the inline bit in the name. The speed skating, obviously, skating. Nobody is saying that there are roller speeding or speed rolling or speed blading or something like that. The same goes for the freestyle slalom. Most people are saying the freestyle slalom, but if someone wants to point that this is done on skates, they are naming this inline freestyle slalom, not inline freestyle slalom blading or freestyle slalom blading, obviously. So the rollerblading name, I think it's much more attached to the aggressive community that is using this, and even I, a guy who is spending most of his skating time on the big wheels, when I'm reading or hearing the term rollerblading, I'm thinking about the aggressive skating, not the other types of the skating. Well, I know that the aggressive community is pretty much attached to the term. However, I think the aggressive line is also a good alternative to it. The problem with rollerblading is also that the rollerblades do not want people to use the term for any kind of financial gain, because it is a copyright infringement or something like that. Well, if you look at other companies in other business types, for example, an Apple, they wanted to make an iPod, the word iPod, an alternative to the MP3 player or Sony Walkman. Basically, Walkman is also a brand by Sony, but Sony is not suing anyone for using the term Walkman to describe the audio device that lets you play the music on the go. The same goes with the Apple. People are calling those devices that let you play the music on the go and iPods all the time, and it is basically the free publicity. Same goes with the Microsoft. When they established the Xbox brand, they wanted to establish in it such way that people will use the term Xbox instead of the gaming console. And well, they succeed, at least in the US, I think, because in the US average Joe calls every kind of console an Xbox. If it's play games, it's an Xbox to them. So basically, I don't know why Rollerblades is against this, but if they do not want us to call other skates rollerblades, or what we are doing rollerblading, fair enough. This is their loss, not mine. They are basically giving away the free publicity, they are giving up on it. So I don't know really why they are doing this, but as I said, it's their problem. For me, the inline skating name is much better, and I will definitely stick to it. Thank you. Cheers.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to do it right now. And if you did like the video, give it a thumbs up. Cheers. See you soon.
Vou viver até quando